Good people, welcome in for another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And you know, all right, that's how we get there. But look, so again, man, we are available anywhere and everywhere you listen to podcasts, man. So no matter what you want to do, search Kingly Conversations, look for the logo, and govern yourselves accordingly.
I thought you were about to say, who said that?
No, I was not. I was not about to say that. So before we, you know what? I just thought about it before we get into the topic this week. Oh, by the way, I'm Alan.
Yo, it's your boy Twine, also known as Twine. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
Oh, my gosh.
Huh? Yeah, man. We upgrading out here, cuz. All right, let's moving on.
Your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
Yeah. Who's a never?
You know, somebody did say that I was spending, Bert said I was spending all that podcast money. I'm like, bro, ain't no podcast money. We getting podcast money. Not at all. No. But somebody was like, I was telling them that we had a podcast and I was showing them the logo or whatever. And they were like, oh, you need somebody to redesign your logo? I'm like, no. I mean, I'll look at what you got, but we probably ain't using it. Well, can't be just out here changing logo. Like changing the logo is a big thing to do because everybody recognizes you from your logo.
And they recognize
not
you
changing the theme music just yet.
Oh my goodness, man! So
maybe we should do that. Maybe we change the theme music every season.
What do y'all think?
That mean every 6 months.
What do y'all think? I'm not asking these two gentlemen. I'm asking the listeners,
and the answer is no.
Oh, Lord. You took a census already on it? Okay, moving on.
Henry Ford said, you can have any color car you want
as long as it's black. Henry Ford also said some very anti-Semitic things.
Oh. Let's move on.
You know, there's some. There are whole groups.
Let's move on.
Oh,
there are whole groups of people that won't buy a Ford because of Henry Ford. Now that was 3 generations ago, but they still won't buy a Ford.
Let's move on.
I'm moving right along. So what are we talking about today?
Why don't marriages last?
Bang, 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 bang. I got you on this one, yo. You ask me, man. Ask me the question.
Okay, Ponzo, let's go. You hit it first. Why, in your opinion, don't marriages last?
Well, first of all,
why time out? Why all this energy? Why all this energy?
Look at if you're watching it sounds like it's wind in here.
Because that's what he's doing. He grabbed it.
Okay, let me calm down.
He about to give y'all something.
Let me calm down.
Here we go. Let's go.
I mean, it's just because I got history, man.
All right.
If you don't learn from history, man, then what are we? So, why don't marriages last? Let me put my notes up here so I don't go too far off topic. Now, I will tell you from my experience, it's definitely because it goes back to one of the topics that we had, unequally yoked, if you will. So that's one of the reasons. Communication, the lack of, and the maturity are some of the things that I can name off top. So, yeah, I'm just paraphrasing because I want to stick to the notes.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
So I don't want to go too into it right now because there's more to come.
Alan.
I can't tell you why marriages don't last.
Bam, 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 bam.
I mean, why do you think? Why do you think?
I think that one of the things is there's an expectation that's not being met.
Ooh, that's good.
And that could be on either side, right?
True.
I think sometimes people think that people get married for that they weren't compatible, but they got married for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
Either they got married because that clapper was clapping,
The clapper was clapping,
or they got married.
What's the clapper was clapping? What's the clapper was clapping?
For those that know, they know what a clapper is. So the clapper was clapping.
PG,
and,
baby.
And or
we ain't got to be PG.
we don't really have to.
We
be
don't
PG.
have to, but
I mean,
we keep it family oriented.
So
for the most part.
but they got married because they had a Jones in their bones.
Jones in their bones.
Yeah, man.
What?
Yeah, you gotta listen to 90s, 2000s R&B to know about those. But they get either way, they got married not with the idea of I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with this person. Okay. They essentially was like, I don't want to be without this person right now. Mm-hmm. And not thinking about, okay, well, do I even like this person outside of whatever it is that they may do for me? Do I even like this person? So they got married for the wrong reasons, or they got married to somebody and expectation wasn't met. You know, they expected it was going to be like this, it wasn't this way, or the other person changed. There are a lot of people that, you know, especially when we talk about war and things like that, that the person that goes to war comes back and completely different person. And so that can certainly change a relationship. That's one of the reasons, at least, why the divorce rate is so high among the military. But and then of course there's always going to be infidelity. That's always out there.
Okay. So we're gonna deal with
some
of that stuff. Yeah, there's a couple of good reasons. But okay, so then let's look at the positive point. What's the most important part of marriage? What would be a reason to be married? Give me some good reasons for that.
A good reason,
and then
we're
gonna jump back. Yeah. What's a good reason to be married?
Well, I think a good reason would be marrying someone who allows you to be yourself without casting judgment or trying to control or change you. I mean, encouraging your significant other is one thing, but you constantly telling somebody, oh, you can't say that, say it this way. Or you can't do it that way, do it this way. Mm-hmm. Like trying to control, someone trying to be controlling all the time of how you are and trying to regulate what you do and what you say. I think going back to your question, being able to be your true self and be accepted in love, regardless of your flaws.
That's a big reason to get married, because they do.
Because they do accept you for who you are. They love you. They see, the
good, bad, and ugly. They still love you.
They still love you. Yeah. So I think that's a good reason to get married. Also, having similar goals in life is another good reason to get married, because you have an understanding of where this relationship is going, how we're going to build it, what's the foundation of it. Like y'all are on similar pages in doing so, but not the exact same.
But y'all have
an agreement to where, okay, it's like it's automatic. It becomes automatic when you have that kind of goal. I mean, not goal oriented, but that similar way of seeing where the relationship should be going or would be going. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can keep going on, man. What y'all got?
I don't know.
I ain't got nothing.
I know what's a good reason to get for people to be married.
I don't for married as an institution.
Yeah, what's up? Well, okay, all right. So then that needs to be question phrased that way. Then
marriage. So one of the benefits is, to me at least. So for an example, if you're not married according to the law, then you, depending on where you live, that person may not be your next of kin. Mm-hmm. So if you are in the hospital or whatever, they can't make decisions, on your behalf or whatever. But in terms of the other than the legal aspect, there is not the legal or the religious aspect. There's nothing that you can get from. There's nothing that you can't get from cohabitation that marriage gives you. Marriage doesn't give you anything additional other than the legal right to say, yes, we are together. So we can make decisions legally as one person. Outside of that, marriage don't,
Can I add something?
Yep.
I'm reading the question. When you asked me the question, to me it was different from me reading it. The most important part of a marriage is unconditional love. That's my answer to that question.
But that's not exclusive to marriage.
Unconditional love.
And
it's not.
And it's not unconditional love always in marriage.
But he's saying that's the most important part.
That's one
because to him, without that, you really don't have. Like you said, it's almost no need to be married.
Get that checked.
I know. Well, first of all, I fell asleep without my machine last night, so I'm struggling. My throat hurt because I was snoring like a grizzly bear. I ain't got no allergies. Well, yeah, I do.
Now.
Yeah, I got them now. Anyway, moving on.
But that unconditional love.
Unconditional love. I mean, there's when you ask that question, you can't really boil it down to one thing, because we can also talk about trust.
Yeah,
trust is also important in a relationship, because without that, you ain't got nothing.
But penetration, unless it's Biggie.
Hey, yo, he's been on the Junior Mafia spree this morning with all
these
bars,
that 90s, 2000 hit list.
So I mean that's the only thing I would probably say is that there, in terms of, so the relationship can exist without the word marriage.
I know
what marriage gives you is that legal that thing that says we are together. Because think about, before the state authorized marriage, you just said you were married. There's nowhere I found where you have to have any type of elaborate ceremony where vows have to be exchanged. Any of that. If you said you was married, you were married. Now you got to have a piece of paper.
I love you. I love you too, dog.
And I'm so glad you said that, because I'm gonna hit that later.
But if you're looking at marriage from, I mean, even if you look at marriage from a religious perspective, there's nothing codified that says this is what you need to do to prove that you are married. This is there's no line. There's nothing that says, oh, once you go before a priest or a rabbi or whatever and tell them, like, there's nothing in there that I've read. Now maybe you've read something, but unless it's the exchanging of a dowry. But in ancient times there was no marriage law.
Right.
You went before you, especially if you were non-religious, there was no law.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with it. It depends on what culture, what religion you're going off. That plays a major part.
And now in the West,
yep.
In the West, they have used, well, essentially they use what the Catholics did, but we don't really do it like our Near East brethren, but we do what the Catholics did.
But do you think it was there is a reason? There is a design and a purpose for it. Because to me, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, abuse is inevitable. Miles Monroe said that years ago.
He did say that.
And I'm saying most people don't understand, one, what a marriage is for. That's why it doesn't last. If you don't know what it's for, you will automatically abuse it. That's why they don't last.
So my question is always, removing the word marriage,
okay,
would the relationship still be the same? Removing the word,
relationship will be 100% the same.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with him. I agree with that.
So
the relationship will be the same. Because now the legal matters, the laws of the land and everything else is different. Now, like he said.
The other concern I have about that, again, I mean, in some respects, I'm always going to view things through the skewed lens of history.
Okay.
And up until not that long ago, if I had wanted to, if I wanted to marry someone of a different race, it was illegal to do so.
True.
In Virginia. Until the 60s, the 1960s. So if you listen to this, your granddaddy and your grandmama,
they had to do it
would have been illegal If you come
They
from
actually had a law.
yeah, there was
it was a law.
where you had to fill out the form and you had to specify and prove what you were as far as race wise and color wise. That shout out to that, man.
Right. But again,
so that's why I say I view it this in some respects as excuse because people have told you who you could and couldn't marry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I'm just like,
all right,
man getting involved in other people's business again.
Yeah. So as far as you can go back or you think and use history, what was marriage for? Why? Like you said, beyond anything, why get married? Just to have a relationship.
just because.
It's just me and this person.
Just because.
It's just us. We here.
Just because.
Let's move on. We ain't classify this. We ain't got to put
just because, man.
nothing on this. It's just me and you.
Well, because being married has always, I mean, it's giving you a different level of access than those. When I say access, I mean ability to do things in each other's name, type of thing. But it doesn't keep you from. It keeps you from doing certain things if you don't have the ability to say this is my husband or this is my wife or this is my spouse or whatever.
Okay, so I haven't said that. Now, sex and money.
Yep.
Those two to me are two of the biggest issues people think.
When you say sex, are you referring to infidelity?
Yeah.
Or just in general?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. The whole thing because
some people got bad sex out here. So that's one reason why they marriage don't last.
You saying clappers don't clap out here?
Well,
no, I'm just messing. Go ahead, man.
I'm glad you stopped me. I'm glad you stopped me.
We ain't doing that.
We ain't doing that. I mean, it can go either way.
Calvin over here dancing in his chair,
off screen, baby. But seriously,
how people got bad, man?
People got bad sex out here, man.
I'm not doing this with y'all.
I've heard conversations. Trash. I can't do this no more.
Oh no.
And that's why they be out here searching for the right one.
searching like an urchin.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about it. Okay, so sex and money, the two topics or issues in marriage that most people believe why marriages fail. Well,
true. Now, see, and it goes another way. You can look at it perspective wise. The sex was too good, and you wasn't focused on nothing else but the sex. So it can go either way. It's either you got good sex or you trash.
So you either a crackhead or
there's no gray lines, man. There's no gray lines. I know. Let's talk about it. So there has been a conversation that said that, if your sex is bad, we cannot continue.
Okay, well, what makes sex? Okay, this is based. No.
Marriage-wise.
Marriage-wise. What makes sex bad? Because to me, if
you better get yours.
Right. Well,
I got mine.
But if you use this analogy. If you go to a restaurant and the waiter comes and you just stand there and look at the waiter, what are you supposed to do?
What?
Yeah, look, because you stand there, the waiter comes to your table, you standing there, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't tell the waiter what you want, how do you get the service you want? Same thing with sex. Mm-hmm. If you don't tell the person how they supposed to know? Oh, they supposed to figure it out. It'll make it good. Okay, so that philosophy don't work. That's not a good.
Let's play advocate.
Okay, all right, let's go.
You got some folks out here that think they know it, and then when it's time to perform, trash.
Trash.
Some people don't want to be coached.
Listen,
or some people will if you try to coach them, it'll be like, oh no, I can't. It turns them off.
But this is like going to a restaurant.
I understand.
I want chicken parmesan. Don't give me steak. Give me my chicken.
I don't want soup. Give me some meat.
Yeah, give me what I asked for.
Yeah.
That makes it good. But why? Because that's what I want. That's what I asked for. Or I don't understand how people don't treat sex that way. This is what I want in a marriage. This is what I want. Mm-hmm. But you go to that person, okay, you don't even know what you want. So you want me to figure out what you want. So then it's trash.
Oh yeah.
Because it's trash. Because you don't know what you want.
But then that goes into lack of communication.
So is it the sex or is it the communication the problem?
Both.
Communication is always the problem.
Both, man.
You say
Because you got to communicate. You got to communicate what you want. Now,
but see,
the other partner got to be willing to. The other partner does have to be willing to deliver
exactly
what it is that you want.
Okay.
So since before the thing started, since we was talking about asphyxiation.
Okay.
I mean, the camera ain't gonna see it, though.
Okay, good.
But since we were talking about asphyxiation before we started, so if somebody likes to be living on the edge of life in their sexual encounters, sexually they like to be asphyxiated and choked, but you're not willing to murder somebody, potentially murder somebody.
Okay, in a marriage scenario, that's what you want. I'm gonna give them what they asked for.
Okay, all right.
Y'all just gotta make sure I have a safe word, but
Yeah,
so like, okay, I'm about to die. I'm
gonna say this, and hopefully we can move on to the money part. So on both aspects of what y'all said, you said you got to ask for what you want.
Yes,
if you want it to get it.
Yes,
and you say some people are out here trying to do some extra stuff and. That's cool too.
I mean,
however,
listen. There's an entire song called "What in the Butt" for a reason.
Why did you even have to bring that up, man?
But he making a point. Go ahead, making a point.
That people desire what they desire,
right?
And if for whatever the reason is, you are not willing to deliver on, you're not willing to be UPS and FedEx on that. Then that's going to create a level of unmet expectations because people expect their partner to be like, I'm willing to do. Now, but again, that goes back to communications because if you are not willing to do that, that needs to be communicated. Hey, I don't. Maybe we can ease into. I don't feel comfortable choking you to death. Maybe I can just push on your throat a few times, and then maybe I'll work to the one hand, and then maybe we get maybe we get to two hands eventually. But
walk into my hand. Okay, I'll say this: some people, even though they're asked, and it's been communicated in one side, or as far as your sexual partner in a marriage, they're not able to perform your expectation, and that's when we get into why marriages don't last. That's
okay.
All right.
Now, and that's the other part because some people can't. If you physically can't, then that's gonna
like when you got.
It also depends on how, if that is a non-negotiable for you.
So what about those couples out there that was in a relationship for so long and said, hey, you know what? We're not going to have sex until we get married. And then you get married and then you go in the bedroom and now it's not as
I would think me personally, I would think people would take the time to communicate. Okay, if we're not having sex, okay, you told me that. I understand that part. But when we do, get that notebook over there.
Take notes.
Write this down.
Right.
Look, I like my soup this way.
I want it this temperature. This way. You see that strap on the ceiling right there? Okay. This is how you do this. If I'm waiting that long, okay, this is what I want. Now tell me what you want.
But see,
tell me what you want.
That's coming from somebody that is oriented in details and schedules and timing. Hey, that's your perspective.
But that's right, because I'm not going. If you, again, back to my restaurant. Yeah. If you come to the restaurant and you don't tell me, I'm at the table, I'm the waiter. You don't tell me what you want. How can I please you?
Okay. Well, shout out to those.
No, you're just supposed to know.
Okay, so next time y'all go to a restaurant. Okay, listeners out there. Next time you go to a restaurant, go to the restaurant, book your reservation, sit there. Just go in and sit. Go ahead. I'm here.
Excuse me.
I'm here.
Do you need a menu? No, I'm good.
No, I'm good. And just stare at them, look at them, and then get mad because they didn't bring you your food. Get mad, get hot. Because that's what this is my point. That's what people do when it comes to sex. They sit there, they come to the restaurant, they get all hot and bothered. Oh yeah. Whew, here we go.
Now, I think going along with that, I think sometimes also things can. So there can be, and this does happen. There can be physical changes, that cause that part to change as well. Because, you don't know. Especially for most men, they have no idea. They just assuming that their body work right and then don't.
Right. Hey, and that's a problem.
Yeah, shout out to those who can perform. They have pills for that. Moving on to finances.
And psychologists will tell you sometimes it's a mental issue. Yeah. Sometimes it is. And it's an attraction issue.
But you may not have come into the relationship that way, or you may have come into the relationship that way and didn't know. So,
or you just don't like what you see and you've become disgusted with it, and now I don't want to do it.
Right.
Come on now. Let's go.
All right. So money. So money.
Oh, now y'all want to.
So now clappers don't clap again. Okay, we back to clappers don't clap. I got you. All right.
Take care of your body. Take care of your health. That way you can perform and do the things you
perform
can do.
At a high level.
Anyway, money. Okay.
What about money?
Money is a major issue. Seems again because I think it's not the money. It's not the set, but money. Managing money is a major issue on why marriages fail. Mm-hmm. I want to go buy this Cadillac.
Well,
but our washer and dryer broke,
busted, and yeah.
Well, let me get the Cadillac and I can take the clothes to the laundry.
No.
Yeah. Well,
but guess what? Guess what that was?
What?
Communication.
Okay.
Now again though, if it was communicated, and you chose to, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Well. I know some people with some European uppercuts for you.
Oh, you going to jail today? I will say that in the modern days, I can see how that's a problem. But you got some people with some the older mindset to where through thick and thin, they actually held on to that vow till death do us part, for better or worse. They stayed together, and one was financially illiterate,
right?
And then the other one was struggling because of the other person. So they still stuck together because we in this for the long haul, and now y'all in some turmoil because financially you cannot manage.
And I
as
think,
a couple,
I think that's
in a marriage.
I think that
by yourself,
as technology has, as life and the ability to move around and travel around has evolved, I think people have become really less tolerant. Because 50 years ago, you wouldn't have necessarily seen how other people's 50, 60, 70 years ago, you wouldn't have really seen how other people's marriages were. You certainly wouldn't have seen the opportunity for so many different partners. You certainly wouldn't have had the opportunity to talk to somebody. You live in Virginia, but you talk to somebody online from Seattle who does everything emotionally that you wish your partner would do, and now you're starting to have other thoughts because of that. So those types of things weren't as easy to do. Now everything's in the palm of your hands, a click away. Yep. So I wonder sometimes for those, as we call them, old school couples, if they would have still stayed together if the opportunities had presented themselves to start tipping out.
Man, it would have been sneaky links everywhere.
Sneaky links
in the 70s.
But even then, it was still happening.
It was still happening.
It wasn't as fast rate as it is now. But it's still. There's a way. People figured out a way. Go to church, go to a social gathering, anywhere.
You can definitely go to church because it's certainly some churches out there where the pastor busting them down.
He said busting them down. It's the truth though. It doesn't change. Wherever there are people,
got a whole wife in the pulpit busting them down.
I went to a church where that was happening.
I hope not.
All the deaconesses.
I ain't gonna talk about it.
Every week after service, all you hear is applause.
Oh man. Let's move on. 5-year rule. So I think
money, financially, I think because the marriage doesn't last because you can't afford it. You can't even afford the marriage. because financially,
What do you really need? Do you really need money to be married? Because it's about the relationship. No,
absolutely,
it's about the relationship.
Nope.
He said no.
Nope.
He said what he said.
Nope.
It's about the relationship.
Nope.
So
it's not.
So even if it is about the relationship,
nope.
There are. Everybody has their own threshold of poverty that they're willing to live in.
Look at here, man. I've been in some poverty, man, and I ain't going back.
Nobody. I understand that. I'm just talking about.
We need to get this thing together right now. You and me as one.
You ain't got to do nothing.
I'm sorry?
They ain't got to do
well,
nothing.
then there again.
Then
guess what has happened? The expectation has not been met.
Look, keep going.
You can do what you want to do. Calvin D will have a house.
And then we opening up another can of worms right there, buddy. Financially,
definitely are, because I thought the two had become one.
That's going to cause separation, my guy.
You essentially already separated. You just living together.
In some relationships, now you're just
separate
roommates.
but equal.
Now you become roommates in that case.
Listen to me.
Let me say this: you don't become roommates, but there's a potential of that happening because of the separation financially. I've seen relationships where somebody is trying to change and do better. They're trying to build up their credit score. They're trying to save money. They're trying to buy a house. They're trying to build a business, whatever the case is.
Yep.
And the partner is not on the same page, and they're not making that change. And now y'all going in two separate directions. That causes turmoil, or that allows the that door being open or that window being cracked for something or someone else to come and creep in because of the separation. So I'm just talking from experience. Moving on.
I used to make a statement of the guy named Matt, right? I don't see the problem.
See the problem with what? What do you mean?
If I'm trying to do better and have a house and live a better life, I don't see the problem. That means you want to go. You want to go do something else. I'm going this way. Ain't no problem. Goodbye.
Ooh.
I'm glad we're talking about why don't marriages last.
That's why I don't. Like you said, you got one trying to improve, trying to do better.
Yeah.
I don't see the issue, because if that person you don't want to do and you don't want to do better and you don't want to improve, goodbye.
I have said, there's one thing I've said for years and years is that
you don't want to do
is that either you grow together,
no gray areas,
or you grow apart.
Yeah, because that's the point. That's the point of being okay. What you here for? If you we're trying to go here. I'm trying to accomplish this. I have goals, like you said, and that stuff needs to be communicated.
True,
has to be discussed, and if the discussion at the conclusion of the discussion, you already see that person isn't going that way, I don't.
So there's no time limit.
Marriage should be an option.
Well, I don't know.
I don't see why it's an option.
Now I will say, because in general, both people come up with goals. Both people come up with goals. So I should be willing to support my spouse's goals as much as they're willing to support my goals.
Yeah, once you're in the marriage, right? And again, communication together. But if I got to make a decision on who's going on this ride with me, you ain't
me.
Going. You ain't
who going on this ride with me?
Who going on the ride?
And only me,
man. Hey, once you've been down, you can decide what you want.
But there are some marriages out there that have a intertwined vision.
Oh my gosh!
So
intertwined. I like the way he just threw that. Threw that in there.
All right, so 5-year rule. Most marriages. What is this, Calvin?
So people say in 5 years, the average marriage in America doesn't last more than 5 years, or the average marriage period across the world doesn't last more than 5 years. Do you think that's true or false? If so, we'll give the argument which one. I don't know. When we say most, I would have to know what that percentage actually was. But I do know that because October will be 10 years for us, and we have seen couples get married and divorced within the amount of time that we've been married. We've seen some people get married and divorced twice within the time that we've been married. Okay. So, it's only really one person, but
We know that it is, and the only reason why it is a thing for us is because so many people told us what we should do, how we should approach the marriage, how we should do that. Okay, and we were like, we're not doing this for the traditions of men. So just like the whole tradition of not seeing the bride before you actually get married. Stupid.
That's tradition.
Forget that. The traditions of men will cause the world to burn. But anyway, but all these people that got divorced, guess what? They didn't see their wife beforehand. They didn't see them.
Okay.
So we was like, our mindset was, why does that matter?
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter at all. It's a tradition that matters not at all. And now it probably came from the days of arranged marriages.
A superstition, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's a superstition, and I don't believe in superstitions.
Okay.
None of them. I'll walk under a ladder while holding a black cat with an umbrella. Don't matter to me.
And with 2 broken mirrors.
Oh my God.
2 of them. And I'll dare bad luck to come after me. I dare you.
Nice.
Trash.
So, she got the
I know, right?
dropping the bombs on them. So, with that being said, I think that's a good segue to this next question, saying that the wedding is the most important thing. What do you mean by that, Calvin?
Some people spend more time on the wedding, the event, rather than the actual marriage.
Yep. I can relate.
That's that. Yep.
I can relate.
Yep.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so
come on, finish your statement.
That's the statement. That's the statement. You just threw me off because that whole it's a thing. You spend more money on, like you said, I'll go buy a coordinator. I'll make sure to pay the priest, the music, the decorators. I will pay everybody, but I won't pay a marriage counselor.
Ooh, can we get a drop on that?
Oh, oops, sorry.
Thank you. That was a bar, right?
You should let me know that was coming, man.
I did.
I mean, I'm prepared when I say stuff.
Freestyling right now, baby.
And I'm trying not to go on this.
But
I'm not going on this.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah,
say it one more time.
Because a lot of people spend more time getting the caterer, the priest, the plays, everything else. They spend all this money. Oh, the dress. Oh my God, y'all women, y'all spend thousands of dollars on a dress that you're gonna wear for one day, but you won't spend the same $1,000 on that marriage counselor.
I like that.
So I mean, people, I do always 100. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you go to a priest. I don't care if you go to a professional marriage counselor or a professional marriage therapist. I do think that everybody needs to talk to somebody because there's going to be something. Now, part of it for me is to make sure that all of the non-negotiable conversations have been had. Yeah. And a good marriage counselor is going to make sure that, well, have y'all talked about this? Have y'all discussed this? Have y'all discussed how you want to raise this? Have y'all discussed this? Have you discussed? Right. They're going to go through all of those things with you. So I do think that everybody should go because of that. Because some people are just like, oh, I'm so in love, we're going to get married.
Right.
And then real life sets in the day after the marriage.
But they don't see the bumps in the road. And I think that's another reason to talk to someone beforehand, because especially someone that's been there, because they see the road you're going down and they know the pitfalls before you get there. So if you have a plan, everybody got a plan till they get hit. But if you at least have a plan how to resolve some of these issues before you get there, when they happen, okay, you already know, okay, this is how we should handle this. This is how we chose to navigate this beforehand.
I also think the people that do that are more likely to be willing to go to therapy after the fact if they need to. If they talk to somebody before, then it's not completely foreign to them. So even if that therapist is the same person that was a counselor, because a lot of people talking to their pastors,
right?
Which could be good.
It could be
trash.
But some I mean, but again, all that goes into you gotta know.
Yeah.
Your people, know who you're taking advice from, know their lifestyle. My philosophy always, if your lifestyle doesn't match the area or topic you're giving me, I won't take that advice. I'm not talking to somebody who hasn't been married longer than me about marriage stuff or taking their advice, because that's not good.
Yeah,
That's just not good.
from my experience, allowing other people to dictate your relationship,
Yeah, that ain't good either.
that's one way your marriage is not gonna last. I was gonna get into it about weddings and the cost of it, and everybody focusing on that. But what
you got to say about it? What you got to say about it?
I ain't got the energy for it. But let me tell you,
you tell your
I'm gonna tell you that I have experienced both sides of the spectrum. Paying for a wedding and just feeling like I just wasted my money. And on the other end, it was completely opposite. Like the whole spectacle. The first marriage, it was a spectacle. It had to be this, it had to be that. Money was coming out the wazoo. As a matter of fact, all the money that I had saved up from Iraq, spent all of it. You know how you could have put money to the side, and I forgot that I did that before we went over there.
Yeah. So
money was just sitting there, just piling up. And then at the end of our tour, they was like, okay, here's the money you didn't spend. I was like, sheesh. Ugh. I had it. But then, it was within a short amount of time, and I'm talking about short, all that money was gone. Can't get it back for nothing.
Go.
However.com. On the other side of the spectrum, me and Ashley had
way less
stress, and I was more comfortable with it, because before it was like it was forced. But this one, what you doing over there?
Why you putting your eye on the microphone, man? You tired? You about to go to sleep?
Listening to him, and it's you don't know how many people do that and go through it.
No, I know it.
A lot
and
of people
about to do it.
I was paying, dude. I'm paying everybody at the wedding, bro. I ain't have no time to enjoy myself. I'm still trying to figure out how people gonna get paid. And we got screwed over at the same time because people was acting funny because, dealing with people that's so-called close.
Y'all, please listen to this.
So-called friends.
Our wedding was essentially, it wasn't free, but it was about as close as you get.
All right.
Somebody else paid for the dress as a gift. Somebody paid for the cake as a gift.
And I paid
somebody paid for the food. So the food everybody ate, somebody else paid for that.
Yeah.
As a gift.
Good job.
The officiant was super free because it was my dad. So that was free. He was just honored that I would ask him to do it. And I'm like, who else would I ask to do it? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, if my dad is a minister, who else would I ask to do my wedding? Why would I not want you to have that memory? Anyway, and we did it on the campus of the school that we met at. They had a nice ballroom space and all of that. So, and they didn't even know what to charge us. I think we ended up for 2 days. I think we paid $500 for the space.
Must be nice.
We could come in and decorate it now they probably have raised their prices since then. But they had never had a wedding on campus ever. We were the first one. So
speaking of, in tradition, is the wife's or potential wife's family supposed to pay for it?
All right, so
traditionally,
me and Angie,
yeah.
Her parents paid for everything as far as the wedding. I did everything outside of the wedding.
Okay.
Well, my family, we did
the
nights and
my first experience. None of that. Everything came out of my pocket, and then I was also told that, well, you get the money back in gifts and like the money.
Not for where that.
We're not name dropping.
Not for where that was.
We're not doing that.
Not for where that was.
We're not doing that.
You wasn't getting that back in gifts. Not for where that back.
You don't get that.
Did not come close.
You spent a Tesla on that.
You don't get close. You don't. That's
well. I won't say you don't get close.
Look,
if you have your wedding in Norfolk State in 2012, you do get close.
So look,
you do get pretty close.
But look. So at the end, I ain't worried about no honeymoon. I ain't worried about none of that. I'm counting up all these gift certificates and seeing what I get, and it didn't come close to that. No. I think it was like 2%.
Did y'all register anywhere?
Huh?
Oh my God!
Listen,
man,
hey, now this ain't got nothing to do with the topic,
No,
but we registered. We had a gift list, and somebody bought some plates. Like somebody bought a whole a plate set, and we like.
Was that on the register?
Nah, they went to Kmart on the way in. Nice. I was like, bro.
Nice. But anyway,
I can tell you where them plates went.
Okay, real quick.
Somebody got them.
Real quick.
They're real nice. Goodwill got them.
I talk.
Goodwill did get them. And using them plates. Get out of here, man.
Get out of here with that.
Now, if they had fit the decor and they had been nice, and if it was something we had asked for.
Okay.
But
on the other side of the spectrum.
Afterthought gift.
On the other side of the spectrum, we still pay. We pay for everything together as a couple, and it was less stress. I wasn't worried about paying people off at the end because we didn't pay somebody. Like everything was, like you said before, it was planned to the T. Mm-hmm. This time for photography, this time for XYZ, where I need you to be here, I need you to be there. Very organized, very relaxed.
Organized.
Oh yeah.
Make a difference.
Makes a difference. Anyway.
Oh, well, my wedding was going to be organized.
Ashley, man. She's a great organizer.
My wedding was going to be organized.
A great planner.
Make a difference.
Janine planned that whole thing. So.
All of it,
make
man.
A difference.
And it was a beautiful thing. Still is.
It won a headache.
Watch my video when y'all get a chance. Go to YouTube.
It felt good.
It still does. Anyway, moving on.
It's funny for some reason because when this guy says pay people off, all I hear is corruption. Exactly. I'm like, why is it you pay people off? Like, are we murdering people? Like, what's happening?
Bro, pay them off. No, because
I understand what you're saying. It's just the way you say it. It sounds sinister.
I'll give you an example. Since you want to talk about it. We at the wedding, right? Now I'm not talking about the recent one. That's going to be the last one.
Okay.
This one is forever.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm sitting at a table trying to eat my food. You know who comes up to me and says, "Hey, I need you to cut me a check."
Well, that's organization.
Paying people off.
That's organization because as I did for y'all, the best man is really supposed to take care of all that stuff.
I'll say that again.
The best man is supposed to take care of all that stuff. If there's somebody needs to be paid, the best man is supposed to. Because what we did,
who did that?
That's what we did.
I know, but I'm saying who did? Because I remember paying for some stuff.
No, but see, I didn't
know
organization.
Yeah,
though.
I didn't know.
Wasn't that.
And you should. You know what you should have done. You know what you should have done.
I'm listening.
You should have pulled out that 2x4 and started hacksaw Jim Duggan.
And then on top of
USA.
the food was subpar.
What? I don't even remember.
It was subpar. I remember because I paid all that money and I'm thinking to myself,
where were we at?
The Botanical Garden.
I know we were there for that. Was the reception wasn't there, right? Reception was there?
No, that
the
was
reception was over here, right?
It was
at the Shriners Drink.
At
yeah, that's what I thought.
But we had an outside caterer at the time, so it wasn't catered there. So it was an experience, and I could tell you that I don't wish that on nobody. But yeah, organization, having the financial means of doing so. So that ties into everything. Like you and no conversations were really had about those. Important issues that wasn't resolved. And me, myself, not being in it mentally, I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Because I was like, oh, man,
I'm good.
I'm good either way. And I can't say that anymore.
Because he was paying people off.
I was paying people off, man. Hey, man, shout out to those receipts, man. Shout out to those taxes. Shout out to that.
Nah, we pay people off, man. No receipts.
Shout out to all that money I said I was going to get, but I didn't.
Hey, all right, so the closeout crunch time, man. Get your last two advice. Get some. Why don't marriages last? What your last thoughts, not advice, thoughts.
Hey, cue the music, my guy.
I got one for you.
Go ahead, man. I want to hear
this.
I want to do the last one.
Yeah,
okay.
So I mean, for me, I think a lot of what causes issues in marriage, man, is one, people's coming into it with an expectation that's not met. But that goes back to me, it's all communication. Your expectations weren't met because you didn't communicate those expectations. One side or the other didn't communicate their expectations. You didn't go to any sort of counseling, so you didn't even have an opportunity to communicate those expectations. You didn't read a book. You didn't do any of that stuff because even like in our case, we went through the 10 Great Dates Before You Say I Do book. which is going to have you talk about some of these things and discuss some of these things essentially at dates. Now, we weren't local to each other when we went through the book, but we still had these conversations for hours. Like, this is what, this is how I was raised. So we had all these conversations, knew what to expect, knew what the other person's what thoughts were on an issue. And I think sometimes people just rush into it, don't actually have those conversations, or they don't even know that they should have those conversations because nobody ever told them. Especially if you came from a series of failed marriages, there's nobody to really coach you through it. And even if they did, you're looking at it, well, like, yours didn't succeed, but I'm like, we can learn so much from the failures. We can learn so much from not getting it right that we get it right the next time.
I like it. Real quick, closing thought, don't jump into it. A lot of people go into and jump into marriages without having serious conversations. Sexual wise, the sex, the financial means, the spiritual means, the support means, the everything you can think of that holds and bonds a marriage together. A lot of people never take the time to actually do that. So definitely take a year, take 2 years, take however long you need to get yourself together individually and as a couple, and then get into making that holy matrimony, that broom jump. You know what I mean?
Most people spend 12 to 14 years in school getting education. Most people spend at least 6 months doing driver's ed to get a driver's license. How long does it take you to get a marriage license?
Walk down there to the courthouse.
Well, now because of COVID, you have to schedule appointments.
Well, yes.
So other than that, yeah,
but
not long.
But the point is, the state is more concerned about your career and your driving and people on the street than they are about your marriage. So you need to take the time, like Alan said, to do your homework, do your studying, learn the purpose of marriage. If you need a good counselor, I know a couple of them, including myself. Just saying, it's a thing necessary to do the pre-work ahead of time. Y'all have a blessed one.
Yep.
See y'all next week.